Hey, how you doing? Once again, I come to you live from Israel, and I wish you a happy day or whatever time it is where you are. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. Today is Sunday, the 19th of October, 2025, and let's talk about stuff. Tommy Robinson is in Israel since about, I think, 4 days, maybe 5 days now, and has been traveling around Israel, visiting with many different people from all walks of life, and has been visiting places like the Gaza border, the Machane Yehuda market in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and um, going through the neighborhoods like Neve Sha'anan in Tel Aviv, speaking with local residents, both Israeli and illegal migrants or undocumented migrants, whatever you want to call them. They're illegal migrants. That's what we call them here, illegal aliens who have crossed the border illegally. Many of them as far back as 15, 16, 17 years ago. If you remember, I made a number of videos at that time on some of my other YouTube channels related to that, about how it was important for Israel to take in people and show them, humanitarian dignity and respect and care and all that stuff, because they were literally crossing inhumane conditions through Africa, and all the way up from Sudan, all the way in Eritrea, Nigeria, all the way through Egypt and to the border of Israel, where they were met with care by the IDF. And many of them were situated in a village that was set up specifically for them on the Sinai border, right next to it. But most of them went to Tel Aviv and surrounding areas. Some of them went to work in Eilat, in tourism, and they've been here for many years. The problem is that many of them, especially who live in Tel Aviv, have been increasingly involved in gang violence that they've started to create. Many of them have had children here, because of course, and their young children have been getting involved in youth gang violence, and they do that because of the influence that they see on the internet, and music videos that imitate, like, all that kind of horrible lifestyle. And they see that from, American rap videos, American hip hop videos, that kind of thing, and they think it's cool to be, violent and gangs and all that idiotic nonsense. So they start fights, they set fires to property, whether it be cars or anything. They beat up kids, local Israeli kids, and they do disgusting things, despite the fact that they get literally more rights and privileges and benefits than we local Israelis. So we are in Israel experiencing something very similar to what people in the UK and in France and in Germany and all across Western Europe and the United States and Canada are experiencing, which is we're getting a lot of, bad situations because we opened our doors to welcome in people coming from horrible conditions. And I agree. I still stand by the fact that it's good that we did that to let them in initially, but that we didn't take care of the situation properly. And I said that then, and I still say it now. We didn't take care of the situation properly. What does it mean to take care of the situation properly? It means to make sure that these people assimilate our values. If not, they can leave. Now, they don't have to become all Jewish or something. I don't care about that. They're free to have whatever religion they want. They're free to believe whatever they want to believe. They're free to express themselves however they want, as long as it's peaceful, right? But if they don't accept the laws of our country and they're undocumented, they have no business being here. And if we catch them doing a crime and they're not citizens, they should be booted. I can tell you, back in the 1980s, I was on a school program here, back in high school, visiting from the United States, from an American overseas student program, basically, in high school. And there was one kid in a group. I'm not going to mention which group it was. But it was a very large. There were hundreds of kids at that time in many different schools. And I remember that one of the kids in one of the groups did something that was not allowed at the time, and he got caught, smoking a joint or something like that, which at the time was considered, a terrible crime in Israel. Like, it was one of the worst things you could do, was smoke a little bit of weed. Like they literally would ban you from the country and you could not return. Even if you were Jewish, didn't matter what country you came from, even if you're American, didn't matter what country you came from, didn't matter what religion you were, didn't matter how sorry you were. They literally took this kid, who was about 15, 16 years old at the time, kicked him out of Israel, and banned him for the rest of his life from re entering Israel. And that ban, about 40 years on, remains in place today. Meanwhile, we got people walking around South Tel Aviv committing all kinds of hooligan acts of vandalism and crime, from petty crime like robbery, which is not so petty in my opinion, but it's considered a petty crime, to much more violent stuff. Physically attacking people, beating them up, sometimes stabbing, sometimes shooting, sometimes rape, sometimes whatever. All the violent crimes you can imagine. Murder. And they're allowed to stay. This should not be the case. If somebody commits a crime in Israel, they should first pay the price in Israel, whatever that price is, and they should be deported after that. And they should not be allowed to come back if they commit a violent crime. Right? They banned people for literally smoking a joint. They would ban them for life until about 20 years ago when they started getting soft on that. And I have no problem with them getting soft on the medical use of THC and all that stuff. That has been demonstrated to help a lot of people cope with pain and other issues. That's fine. Post-traumatic stress disorder, etc. I have no problem with that. But that's regulated. It's done through doctors with licensing and scripts and everything else. And even the social liberalism on it that has said, okay, we decriminalize this because it's not the big issue. The big issue is the harder stuff and the actual violence that people commit. That's what we have to get rid of from society. Well, you're not going to get rid of violence from society if you allow the violent people to stay in your society when they're not even from your society and they don't hold citizenship and they're not contributing anything to the society. They're just being violent. And you can tell me, well, they're being violent because they're underprivileged and they're poor. That's not a reason to be violent. I could be underprivileged and poor all day, all night for years on end. I'm not going to turn to violence. And you can say, well, that's easy for you to say. You have no idea what I've been through in my life. Yes, I've had times of great privilege, but I also have had times of great challenge. And I've never once considered doing horrible things to any other people. Because why would I? No normal person would. The people that commit acts of violence are the people who are so inclined. They are predisposed to do so. They are programmed by their societies where they came from to do so. They are programmed by their values that they've been taught from infancy to do so. Therefore, I don't accept this notion. And I think that a just punishment for people who commit such crimes should very solidly be that they pay their price to society and then they get the F out of the country. They are booted permanently, banned from re-entering if they've committed a violent crime in this country when they're not even citizens. And they're literally guests. And they've been guests here in many cases for, like I said, 15, 16, even 17 years. It's an insane thing that we would allow people who've been here since as far back as like 2000 and I think it was even more than 17 years. 2006, I believe they started coming in. 2007, something like that. We're talking 18 years in some cases or more to allow them to be in this country and not pay any price for all the violence that they've committed, which is not a small amount, is unacceptable and cannot last. It is a recipe for disaster. It is a recipe for future horrible things to happen. And we are seeing it happening already. And we're going to continue seeing it happen. And it has to end. So that's the short of it. And yeah, like I said, Tommy Robinson's been in Israel, visiting, having amazing visits. learning a lot of interesting things about Israel, sharing it online together with Avi Yamini from Rebel News, and he met up with, I don't know if Tommy Robinson met up with Tal Robinson, but I mean Tal the Traveling Kalat, Tal Iran, but Tal did run into Avi. I saw that briefly at the Tommy Robinson kind of, he had like a big meeting, a big event at a very large spot in Tel Aviv, where there were thousands of people who showed up to show him support and to show that we stand together with the people of the UK and we appreciate their support as well, and that we are both in this fight together to stop the crazy jihadis from infiltrating our countries and our societies and destroying us from inside. We stand together because we believe in the values of democracy, freedom, liberty, and what's right. And that is your quick update for now. I hope Tommy has an amazing time here. I thank him for coming. Thank you, Tommy, for showing up. And, even though I don't agree on every single thing he's ever said, I think he's a strong supporter of Israel. He does great work to support Israel. He's a strong ally of Israel, and I appreciate it a lot. And I hope you keep doing it. And we have your back just like you have ours. That's going to do it for now, folks. Take care. Shalom. Peace.